Just coming down to that same section again. It's the only part of the track we seem to see. There he goes. Over the crest. Down to the right hand, that round he goes. Both green sectors so far for Nigel Wood. Come around to the final corner now. Take as much of that as you can. There you go. Shortest way to the line. Nigel Wood comes across. Time improves, but unfortunately stays 6. So that's your grid. There's a few cars out on track, but I don't think they're going to improve at all. Dave Crew's still on a lap. Green through sector 1, but he's going to have to push it. In fact, I don't think he's going to have the time to get this lap in. Binnersley, podium last week, I believe. He's just coming down to the end of the lap. He might... Oh, is that down to... It is. He might just get this lap in, Rick Binnersley. Quick in sector 1, not quick in sector 2, or not quicker for him in sector 2. Clock's still ticking. He might get this lap in, so just watch Binnersley, see if he pops up from 11th.
So, Martin, just wanted to let you know that I had to do some stuff with the audio because it was squealing and it wasn't picking you up.
No. Rick stays 11th. We just lost a driver there at the bottom somewhere. I don't know who that was, but we had 16 at one point, now down to 15. Anyway, your grid, Jake Moore and Badowski will be on the front row. Clive Britton and John D will be on row 2. Rigel and Nigel Wood on row 3. Dave Crew and Mr. Get There on row 4. Mad Al and Pinpoint on row 5. That'll be your top 10. Binnersley, we just saw, will start in 11th. Flack in 12th. Marco down there in 13th, ahead of Giorgio Minga, and Charger just struggling there at the end to get a few laps in. He will start from the back of the grid. Just a short warm-up now, which is great because it gives me a chance to sort things out. If you don't know me, I'm Martin Hughes, normally on the RRL streams, but as we're short of a commentator tonight here over at RWB, thought I'd give you guys a hand and get some comms in for you. I know it's not the usual dulcet tones of Rob Lowe, who we could all listen to for ages, and unfortunately I don't have Rob's knowledge of anything to do with this track, the drivers, how many cars have crashed here over the last 14 years. I just haven't got any of that. You're just going to have to put up with the race, unfortunately, tonight. That'll do, won't it? Well, it's going to have to. Warm up just ticks over. Cars will just start to sort out their cars fuel-wise for race 1. So 15 cars on the grid tonight. Just starting to form up on the grid. Sorry about the sound issues tonight, guys. I say just we're jumping in and literally at the last minute, the tech gurus in the background just tried to help me out a little bit. But as it is, we're sorted and we're good now, I believe. Red lights are on. Jake Moore in pole position and the red lights are off. There we go. Moore's away from Badowski and Clive Britton. Sorry about the TV camera. That's about the best angle we can get. There we go. That's better. Badowski on the inside of Jake Moore. Jake Moore's going to lead into turn 1 around the outside. Clive Britton there up into 3rd. Rigel and John D 4th and 5th. Nigel Wood, Mr. Git, Pinpoint, Mad Al, Dave Crew, Binnersley. Marco charges up to 13th. Could start from him. Flack and Giorgio Minga there at the back. But as they go through, Jake Moore leads from Badowski round this right-hander. Up and over the hill they go into one of the hardest braking points you'll see as they come over the crest here. It goes down the hill and it'll be on the brakes going into the right-hander. A few cars going straight on there, I should imagine, at the start, but round they go. Jake Moore being pressured here by Badowski. You can see the gap there between the two of them. Just keep an eye on that as Jake Moore will look to try and push that out. Clive Britton in third. He's being pressured by Rigel there in the yellow. What number car is that? I can't even see what number car it is. Oh, so it's not that good, but Jake Moore. Badowski there in the 17th car. Clive Britton 44. And Badowski just leaves the door open for Clive Britton there. Clive has a look, but nothing doing. Over the hill they go. I'm going to say that a few times tonight. Down into the braking zone. Left-hander that will sweep back right, back left and back right again. And Jake Moore just starting to pull away now from Badowski and Clive Britton. This is Britton. You can just see him in third there. Rigel's on his inside, but Clive Britton's got the right line here coming into this right-hander. And you can see Rigel just backs out. Britton just loses a little bit of traction there as he goes round, but he keeps it. And onto straight away they go. Jake Moore leads over for lap 1 from Badowski. Britton third. Rigel pushing him in fourth. Nigel Woods up to fifth. John Dee's just taken Mr. Gitt for sixth. Pinpoints in eighth. Al ninth. Rick Binners leads up a place to 10th. Crew, Marco and Charger. Flack and Giorgio Minga round out of top, well, the 15. Here's the battle for second, third and fourth. Badowski, Britton and Rigel. Just a little bit of a gap back there to Nigel Wood, who's trying to catch up and stay on the back of these guys. And behind him, Pinpoint, you can just see come around. There's a bit of a battle there back behind them between John D, Mr. Gitt, and about 15 others. Down to go. Oh! Change of direction under braking. That's going to end up going side by side through this quite difficult section here. Through this left-hander. Take some pace through here. And then this long right hand where you have to worry where to brake for the next right hand. It's so easy because it's all going round there. If you're too hard on the brakes, it will break away, but they've all managed to negotiate that. John D ahead of Mr. Gitt. Oh, sorry, he's behind Mr. Gitt. I apologise. Mick Binners just chasing him behind them, followed by Dave Crew and Maddow. Marco, bit of a gap then back to charge. He just comes over the hill from Flack and Minga. Up front though, this is the Badowski, Britton and Rigel battle. I'll go down towards the final corner. Well, the final set of corners rather. Jake Moore already 1.6 seconds ahead of these guys. Rigel seems to close up on that straight under the toe for Britton. These three are away. And they go. They all get in a slipstream down the straight. Will Badowski try and break it? Too early for that. He's trying to get a bit of a toe off whatever car wake Jake Moore's leaving behind him. Britton looks to be close there at the camera view, but as he goes to the other camera, you can see not quite, but the three of them are close. They go over the crest here, and a fast right-hander. Badowski, Britton and Rigel can literally throw a tablecloth over the three of them. And here we go, up the hill into this really difficult braking zone. Britton looks up the inside of Badowski. Can he get it done? Badowski leaves him room. Nice driving from both of them. Badowski will have the inside line if he can keep it there for the next corner. Force Britton to go round the outside there, and he's going to open the door for Rigel. Great racing from the three of them. Britton going to try and sneak it up the inside here under braking as they go off camber. No, nice driving. Badowski, Britton and Rigel stay as they are. Behind them, I just saw a yellow flag in the background now. I'm not sure who it was. I think it was Mr. Gitt. It was. And Mr. Gitt drops back into Charger's clutches. Charger's through on him. So Mr. Gitt, with that error, falls back all the way to 13th. Everything's flashing all over the place, though, here in a minute. Clive Britton looks down. Oh, that wasn't ever going to work. And that has finally allowed Rigel through. Oh, they come together. That mistake from Britton, where it was an attempt at under braking, just lost the car. Come together with Rigel, and that's allowed Badowski a bit of clean air to try and break the toe of these two. So difficult as they come over all these different little humps and crests that are all man-made to allow the tunnels to go under the track, allow the access traffic. Apart from that, it would be billiard table smooth. Here they go into turn one. Jake Moore's away from Badowski. Rigel up the inside of Britton. Just can't keep it there, so moves back into the toe. All this has brought Nigel Wood right into the fight now as he crawls onto the back of Rigel. He's dragging Pinpoint along as well in sixth rather. Crow just behind him in seventh. You can see there. In fact, just behind them, they're all going at it, aren't they? Let's have a look at that. Here's Crew. Binnersley on the inside in the black and white car. Is he going to go straight on it? Can he get it stopped? He can. Nice driving, Rick Binnersley. He's through. Binnersley up to seventh. Ahead of Dave Crew, John D, Madal, Marco, all in that group there together as well. A gap back then to Mr. Git, who made that mistake earlier. Charger, Flack, and Giorgio Minga there at the back. So Binnersley, really good performance in the last race. He'll be looking to push on here and try and get in front of that battle and try and close the gap down to Pinpoint and get on with Nigel Wood, Rigel and Clive Britton, I should imagine. Long race though. Still 32 minutes to go. Dave Crew trying to keep hold of Binnersley here, and he's doing a good job of it as well. You can see behind them, John D, Madal, Marco, all keeping the pressure on. Binnersley, Dave Crew, John D, all, well, say all getting a toe. Obviously, Binnersley's not because he's the one creating it. Dave Crew looks for a different line around there to try and get on the gas earlier, to try and give him more pace down the straight. Will it work? Binnersley crosses the line in seventh. Dave Crew eighth. John D ninth. Mad Al Marco almost on the back of these guys, just letting a couple of tenths slip away there. Clive Britton's got back ahead of Rigel. Up into third. 2.74 to Badowski in front there of Britton, sorry. And the same sort of gap ahead for Jake Moore. Clive Britton looks to be closing that down nicely though. Rigel really pushing Clive here. Around this right hander they go, then there'll be almost a 90-degree left, followed by a really gnarly little left-hander. This one here doesn't look too bad there on camera, does it? But let me tell you, it's horrible. They go. This left-hander over the crest, they'll go. And down into the final sector. You can see Badowski being closed down by Clive Britton here. He's towing Rigel along with him. Nigel Wood is part of this battle now, well and proper. 3, 4 and 5, chasing down 2. One's virtually away. Jake Moore, 3 seconds now, ahead of Marco Badowski. Behind these in the same part of the circuit, but a couple of seconds back, Dave Crew's got back ahead of Binnersley. Binnersley looking to find a way past here on the, what's the inside of that corner, will be the outside of this little kink, and they'll go down the straight. Binnersley will pick up a toe here. That's the view from Binnersley's car. I'll go down into turn one. Binnersley takes the outside line. When you try and get a cut back, that's what he's trying. Dave Crew wise to that one, though. And I'll go up into turn two. Pretty much together. John D just watching this from the background. Waiting for some kind of mistake from both of them. Dave Crew takes a defensive line into turn three. Binnersley's going to try and look around the outside. We saw how good he was on the brakes last time round. He's managed to keep it there. Can he keep it on the inside for four? He can. That's going to push Dave Crew into a place he doesn't really want to be. Lovely driving, Dave Crew. Well done. That's not easy to do that round there. He does it very well. Keeps the place ahead of Binnersley. He's going to look up the inside into this tight left. Nothing doing there, though. John D, mad out. Just watching and waiting their chance. In fact, John D might think this is his chance now. He's going to look up the inside of Binnersley down here into that place where Britain went earlier. Binnersley, did he see that coming or just get the braking wrong? I'm not sure, but he's managed to keep it around the inside. Oh, no, that's not the ideal line. Binnersley's going to lose speed now over the hill. That's going to allow John D to have a run at him down towards the penultimate corner. They'll go side by side into the right-hander, and they can stay like that all the way around here. It's quite easy to do that. I imagine John D will look to cut back on Binnersley here, but look at that. Mad Al's taken that space away from him. Wow, great racing. Oh! A little bit of a nudge there from John D on Binnersley. God, it's like watching a derby, all coming down the straight. Binnersley inside of John D. Has he got it done? Oh, three of them all together. Meanwhile, Dave Crew is thinking, yeah, you carry on, boys. I'm away. John D up the inside into two. Oh, and they're going to go three wide into three, are they? Yeah, they are. Oh! Binnersley's used to taking his outside line. He's going to have to do it again. Just needs to get on the gas just to give him the inside. Meanwhile, Jake Moore's made a mistake somewhere. He has. Look at that. He's just slopped down. And he's now into the back of the clutch as well. He's passed by Clive Britton up into second. Rigel now really chomping on him. And all of a sudden, Marco Podowski finds himself 2 seconds ahead of Clive Britton in the lead. Jake Moore, uncharacteristic error. All that good work he did in the first 15 minutes, gone. And now he's going to have to try and get it all back. Podowski leads 1.8 ahead of Britton. Jake Moore third. Rigel and Wood right behind him, pressuring him. Jake Moore will be kicking himself. 3 seconds back to pinpoint on his own. 3 seconds ahead of Dave Crew. Got Binnersley, John D and Mad Al. Carrying on that battle there for 7th place. Let's get the Rigel timing up. There we go. You can just see how close it is between him and Jake Moore as they come down the straight. Clive Britton dobs out to try and break the toe. Jake Moore stays on the racing line. Clive Britton comes back onto the racing line now. Into turn one. Rigel stuck to the gearbox with Jake Moore here. And all the time, Clive Britton trying to cut down that gap to Podowski, who's actually extended it now. As Clive Britton comes under pressure from Jake Moore and Rigel still. Moore's going to go round the outside, just like Binnersley's been doing. I'll give him the inside for this left-hander next. Rigel positioning his car on the outside, but that's not going to give him where he wants to be, so he tucks back in. Britton, Moore, Rigel, Nigel Wood. These four chasing down the fortunate leader, Marco Badowski, who took the lead after a mistake from Jake Moore. Looks like the inside Nigel Wood of Rigel here. That's going to give him the inside line if he can keep it there down into the corner at the bottom of the hill. Nice driving, Nigel Wood gets it done, I should imagine. Beautiful. Lovely driving. Nigel Wood up into fourth. Rigel suddenly finds himself down in fifth after a minute ago being right on the gearbox of Jake Moore. Now finds himself all the way back. This is the view from Jake Moore's overhead airbox cam. Right with Clive Britton. You can see Badowski in the distance there, just starting his next lap. Britton staying on the racing line this time, making Jake Moore move, which he does. They're going to go into turn one, almost side by side. Moore and Britton. Clive leaves him some room on the inside there. Thinking, whoa, just runs wide. Comes back on. Jake Moore not with an ideal line into two here, but he manages to find some part of the middle of the track to give him a little bit of a line. Keeps it together. Clive, I think, knows that's not his battle. But if he can stay with Jake Moore. Getting back onto Taylor Badowski. And then in the second part of the race, they can go at it again. Jake Moore's mistake really opening this race up. And now Badowski is doing a Jake Moore 2.7 seconds. In fact, just gone down to 2.5 now. Jake Moore really on it, dragging Clive Britton and Nigel Wood along with him. They've just dropped Rigel now. He's a second back now off these three. There he is in the background, and then followed by Pinpoint Dave Crew, who's still in that battle with Binnersley, John D and Maddow. Those four have been at it pretty much all race. And it's a gap back then to Marco, Flack, Charger, Mingo and Mr. Git, who's right out the back. Running pretty well at the start, but a couple of errors from him. And he finds himself down in 15th. Jake Moore still got Clive Britton, Nigel Wood chasing him down. Okay, then a start, finish straight. First five, all in the same shot there. Badowski leads. Gap 2 seconds to Jake Moore there in second. Clive Britton in the orange 44 in third. Followed by Nigel Wood in fourth. Rigel just behind him in fifth. He's starting to struggle with his tyres maybe. Pinpoint in sixth. Crew in seventh. Scott Binnersley, Al. In fact, who have we lost there? John D. John D's down in 13th. Oh, in fact, he's made his pit stop. That's why. John D has made his. And now he's out. Fresh rubber, I should imagine. So John D now with a nice, clear track. Can he make a break for it? So when Binnersley, Al, Dave Crew all come in for their stop. Rigel must have made a little bit of an error there. He's now down in sixth position. Pinpoint's managed to get past him. Dave Crew now right on the back as well with Binnersley. That's going to be costly for Rigel, especially as they come into the pit stop phase of the race. You might have been hoping to pull some time back on those guys at the front, but actually he's now going to have to struggle to keep ahead of the Binnersley, Dave Crew, John D battle. So Rigel in 6th, behind Pinpoint now. Then as he closes up, Dave Crew right behind him. Mad Out also getting involved in this now. So through they go again. So far only John D has been in. Just under 20 minutes to go. The gap up front as it was. In fact, I said a gap up front between Jake Moore and Clive Britton is, but look at this. Marco Badowski at 2-second lead. Now gone. That's the first 4 there. Badowski, Jake Moore, Clive Britton, Nigel Wood. Then that 9-second gap back to Rigel, Binnersley, Dave Crew, Mad Al, all kicking off back there. This is that battle. Binnersley looking at the inside of Rigel. This time Binnersley gets the inside line here. Makes Rigel take the long way, but gives him the inside for this next corner. And now can Binnersley do what was it John D did earlier? Or was it Dave Crew? It might have been Dave Crew up the inside. Oh, don't go out there, Rick. Not quite as accomplished there as the move we saw earlier. Rigel has now fallen behind Dave Crew. Dave Crew's there with Rigel, Rick Binnersley. They're all together. Jake Moore got ahead now of Marco Badowski, as has Clive Britton. So difficult to know what to keep an eye on track here. Everybody's within about 1/10 of a second of each other. Jake Moore is back in the lead after his error from Clive Britton. Badowski's now back in 3rd, being pressured by Nigel Wood in 4th. Big gap back to Rigel, who's got Binnersley, Dave Crew and Mad Al all fighting still. So those 2 are through, well those 3 are through. In fact those 4 are through. Onto a straight behind them. It's that battle we were talking about. Rigel, Binnersley, Crew and Al. Rigel will be kicking himself. He was fighting not long ago with Jake Moore and Clive Britton. There finds himself way back in the pack. I say way back, he's still 5th. Just 10 seconds. The gap between him and Nigel Wood though. And that's so difficult to make up in these cars. Moore, Britton, Badowski, Wood. Top 4, followed by this battle. Rigel, Binnersley, Crew and Al. That's these 4. Gap back then to Charger, Pinpoint, John D, who's made that stop, don't forget. Marco, Flack, Git and Giorgio Minga. Brings up the rear. So we've got 2 races here. The front 4 all battling, and then the story's exactly the same for the 4 behind. So we'll try and switch between the 2. So Jake Moore away and over the hill, followed by the Clive Britton, Badowski and Wood battle. And not far behind them as they go through onto this part of the straight. You can see the gap. That's where they are now on track. There's Rigel. There's Rick Binnersley right behind him. Dave Crew, Mad Al. Dave Crew just going a little bit off track there, but keeps it online and keeps it together. So Jake Moore's your leader. He's into turn 1 from Britton, Badowski and Nigel Wood. And then just going over the start-finish line, Rigel, Binnersley, Wood. Sorry, Dave Crew and Mad Al. Sorry, it's in the same colour car. Dave Crew, Nigel Wood and that green coloured car. Although slightly different green, to be fair. Clive Britton and Badowski. Badowski looking at the inside of Britton there. Has he got it done? Britton takes the inside. Oh, nice driving, Clive Britton. Badowski tried his best there to keep it around the outside, but Britton just had too much pace. But Badowski looks like he's got a second wind here. Got a feeling Nigel Wood, doesn't like he's made many mistakes back there. He's just kept it nice and quiet and calm. Has he saved his tyres for the back part of the race? Climbed on to the front battle fairly easy, did Nigel Wood. Just waiting for an opportunity to come his way. Seen Nigel go one of them. He's just waiting for 3 more now from... Well, Jake Moore's made his effectively. Clive Britton and Badowski still to... Well, error-free at the moment. Jake Moore just pulled out now a second on Clive Britton. Badowski and Wood. In fact, Wood goes into the pit, so Nigel Wood in for his stop. It's under 13 minutes to go now, so Jake Moore leads Britton and Badowski. Wood's in the pits. Rigel just coming round the final corner there. Off at the back. I think that was Dave Crew shooting into the pits there. Dave Crew's through, sorry. Was that Al going into the pits? Anyway, Rigel's through into 4th, but remember there's a couple of guys that have stopped now that's promoting him up a couple of places. So Rigel and Binnersley, 4th and 5th. Dave Crew back there in 6th. Just trying to see the lap time from John D. He made down in 11th, but he has stopped and currently last one round 2:05.4. Dave Crew last time round a 2:06.2. Binnersley and Rigel 2:05 flat. So John D on pace with these guys, almost just a few tenths in it. So when the pit stops shake out, it'll be interesting. Right now on Pinpoint going at it. Battle for 9th. Al managing to keep it together ahead of Pinpoint. Meanwhile, Clive Britton still got Badowski bearing down on him as they come into the penultimate corner. They both chase each other into the pits. Here they go. So Clive Britton is in. As is Badowski. Jake Moore's gone through, so he'll complete another lap. Britton and Badowski in battle of the pit stops between those two. And they come in to stop. Britton ahead of Badowski. There's Badowski. Britton's away. Badowski's still sat there. Come on, Marco. There we go. Pit crew a bit slow for Badowski. Clive Britton's managed to pull a second or so on him there. So Britton's out. Jake Moore leads. Dave Crew now up to 2nd. The gap between Jake Moore and Clive Britton, about 28 seconds. Oh, and just to make things worse for Rigel, just to finish his day off, drive-through penalty. Oh, Badowski as well. Oh, no. Marco Badowski. And just confirmation of Rigel's penalty there as well. Oh, wow. Poor old Marco Badowski. That's cost him a podium at least today. Binnersley and Charger further back in film. Look at that, just behind them. Pinpoint and Mad Al still going at it. That's those two. Pinpoint managing to keep it ahead of Al. Jake Moore leads, not stopped. Dave Crew second, not stopped. Clive Britton, first of the guys that's been in for his stops there in third. Badowski fourth, will have to serve the drive-through. Nigel Wood in fifth, been in. Binnersley in sixth, not stopped. Or has he? I don't believe he has he, Rick Binnersley? I'm not sure. Pinpoint mad out, going at it. I've got a feeling Binnersley must have stopped because Charger right with him. And Charger was a few seconds away back a few laps ago, so I imagine Rick has actually stopped here. Jake Moore looks like he's in the pits. He is. So Jake Moore's in and away. Where's Clive Britton? Just coming onto the start-finish straight. And there's Jake Moore coming out the pits. The gap's closing. The gap's closing, but it's not going to close enough. There goes Jake Moore through turn one. There's Clive Britton up to second. Nigel Wood third. Dave Crew in the pits in fourth. He's away. You see Badowski there crawling through the pit lane for his stop, or for his drive-through rather. That's going to hurt. And all of a sudden, there's Rick Binnersley right behind Dave Crew in fifth. So Rick must have stopped. More Britton and Wood. Those guys have been at the front all race, and now the pit stops are done. They're still there. Dave Crew, you saw earlier, battling with Binnersley. That's still the case. Didn't work out for John D. He's about 3 seconds back behind Pinpoint. There you go. You can just see him all going a bit wild further back there. John D up the inside of Maddow. Maddow trying to keep it there, but has to tuck back in. So John D up to seventh, chasing down Pinpoint. And then there's 3 seconds then ahead to Binnersley. So that didn't work out for John D at all. Meanwhile, up front, the gaps have all pretty much spaced out after those pit stops. Jake Moore, 3 seconds now ahead of Clive Britton in second. Nigel Wood, 5 seconds back in third. 8 seconds behind them. Dave Crew, Rick Binnersley having their battle. And then Pinpoint, John D and Maddow here. And a good old battle right at the back of the field in 14th is Rigel. Not the greatest race he's going to remember today. One unfortunate mistake and then one avoidable mistake. Probably the second one cost him more time than the first one, but there you go. Rigel all the way back there in 14th, just behind Charger in 13th, ahead of Giorgio Minga back there at the back of the field. Flack and Marco racing well all race, but can't find themselves ahead of 11th and 12th. Mr. Gitt, who's been up and down like horse draws today, he's in 10th. Badowski there after his drive-through, back there in 9th. Pinpoint, John D and Maddow going to turn one. Ahead of them, Dave Crew and Binnersley. Binnersley just trying to have a move here on Dave Crew. 5 minutes to go. Through turn two they go, up and over the hill. Dave Crew looks for the inside. Binnersley quite happy to go around the outside, but not that wide. Not too much time lost though, he'll swing it back. The three behind, Pinpoint, John D, Maddow, still at it. Up front, Jake Moore, 3 seconds the gap to Clive Britton. And he's got 5 seconds on Nigel Wood, so barring mistakes, the podium's pretty much sorted out. Battle for fourth though still rages. Dave Crew, Rick Binnersley. And then try and keep them honest behind Pinpoint, John D, Maddow. Badowski left fuming all on his own on track in 9th. Probably just as well. Binnersley's got a good run here. Dave Crew on the inside. Binners is looking around the outside. We get the cut back. He's looking for it. Get on the gas early. He's going. There we go. Get a nice long drag along the straight, but good driving from Dave Crew. Lost absolutely no time there in that final complex of corners. And Bennetti finds himself exactly in the same position as he was last lap as he goes into turn 1. Same behind for Pinpoint. John D, who's just broken Mad Al a little bit here. But Dave Crew and Bennetti are going to go through 2. Bennetti looks for the inside this time, just to try and put Dave Crew off a little bit. And Dave Crew far too wise for that one. Stays on the racing line. Perfect bit of driving, but Bennetti now looking to put even more pressure on as he carries a lot of pace through there. You can look up the inside. Say break. Ooh. Again, Dave Crew not phased, even though it looked like Bennetti had so much pace through that section. Just a bit of a wiggle there from Dave Crew under acceleration. As behind them, John D just goes wide on the exit of that horrible little left-hander, sorry. More Britton and Wood, 1, 2, 3. Crew and Bennetti, 4, 5. This is the battle you're watching. Pinpoint, John D, Mad Out, 6th, 7th and 8th. And that is the battle. There's Mr. Git, all on his own. Like I said, been everywhere on track today, at the front, at the back, and now he's running midfield in 10th. Marco, here he is, chasing Mr. Git back there in 11th. From Flack, going through the same section of corners there. So those guys all about 3 seconds between each other. Rigel, could have been so different for Rigel today, but he's back there in 13th. Charger, he's had his issues today in 14th, and Giorgio Minga there at the back, getting the experience in that he needs. Good on you, Giorgio. Nice to see. Back to this though, Bennetti and Dave Crew. And they go into turn 2, and behind them, Pinpoint. Now got John D right on his gearbox. This is going to be interesting. Where does John D put that car? Up the outside. Gonna go round. You'll see Pinpoint's car coming to view in a minute. There it is. Pinpoint keeps the place. John D keeps the pressure on through this section. Just watch this. It goes round, right, right, right. So easy. You've got to brake while you're turning. Never something you want to do in a Formula car. Oh, they just nudge. And that's going to allow Mad Out the chance to get through. Fair play to John D. He did back off there and allow Pinpoint to keep the place. But yeah, Mad Out wasn't having any of that. And Mad Out shoots through. Up to 6. What a great race for Mad Out. Just waited patiently for that to happen, and as if by magic it did. And now Pinpoint, John D, have to chase him down. So unfortunate. It looked like Pinpoint had it all under control. Well, under control after that nudge, but it just started to snap and wiggle. Bit of a tank slapper on, and he just manages to let Mad Al through. Meanwhile, Jake Moore crosses the line to win here at Slovakia Ring. Nice driving, Jake Moore, after a mistake earlier on, put him back in the field, but nice bit of driving and a good pit stop, giving him the win. In second, Clive Britton. Nigel Wood there in third. Bennett's going to come over from Mad Al in that battle. Mad Al, Pinpoint and John D. Marco Badowski is going to be absolutely stewing back there in ninth. From Mr. Git, Marco and Flack. Rigel, Charger. And Giorgio Minga is going to round out your 15 runners tonight. in this Formula RWB F4 Tatuus race at Slovakia Ring. God, I'm out of breath. God knows what those guys went through. Jake Moore, Clive Britton, Nigel Wood, that's your podium. Fantastic driving from those three, especially Jake Moore, has to be said. Ultimate quality from that man, as always. I'd say uncharacteristic mistake earlier in the race made it interesting for him for a while there. Manages to pull it back together though for the win from Britton and Nigel Wood. We'll just wait to see if any of the drivers fancy to come in for a chat. You never know. There's your result. I don't want to repeat myself, but it's all there. Nice driving from Binnersley. They started 11th for Binnersley, up to 5th. Dave Crew, fantastic driving from him for 4th. Everything came together from him. Maddow, again, took advantage of that incident between John D and Pinpoint. John D made that early stop, try and force the race. Didn't quite work out. He finds himself back there in 8th from Pinpoint in 7th. Badowski was running in the lead at one point, running 2nd most of the race. Finds himself back in 9th after one mistake and one drive-through penalty for speeding. Mr. Getting 10th, Marco 11th, Flack 12th, Rigel even worse down in 13th for him. And there we go.
Is there a second race in this one?
I thought there was when I first started. I thought it was 2 races. I have to say I'm not up to date until I should be, because I watched last week's race on the stream and I thought there were 2. So.
Well, there was last week, but I thought they might change it because people were getting disconnected and not being able to rejoin.
Ah, okay. Hence the 40-minute race.
But we'll see. Just to answer the question, yes, there is a second round, and
there we go.
Starting shortly.
So as I thought, I wasn't quite sure, so I didn't want to say anything, but there is a second race tonight. Drivers all just forming up on the grid. I think they go in the order they finished. I know it's pretty crap for a commentator. He should know this stuff. But race 2, here we go. Come on, guys, hit drive. There we go. All on the grid rather. Red lights are on. We've lost one. We're down to 14th. 14 rather. I'll try and work out who that is that's gone. As they all get away. Jake Moore, Clive Britton. We come down into turn 1. Wood and Binnersley up there as well. Good start from Rick Binnersley up to 4th. Into turn 1 they go. Badowski there. Hoping to make up some places early on. Nice clean start into turn 1. As it all gets a bit hairy into turn 2. The back of the field there is to get Marco, Rigel, all having a look, Dave Crew all together. Meanwhile up front, Jake Moore leads through from Clive Britton, Nigel Wood in 3rd. In fact, Binnersley's just managed to get past there, has he? He has. Been an incident back there. Oh, there is. Big incident back there. What's going on? 3 wide through this part of the track. That's going to be difficult. A few little nudges and ticks and tacks there. Nigel Wood didn't come off very well there. Down in 10th. in middle of this lot. Said in race 1, coming over that hill, down with all cold brakes, always going to be an incident waiting to happen. And obviously this time it did. We just didn't catch it. I think Nigel Wood was either one of the victims or the protagonist. A little bit of a nudge there from John D. I think it was, who was that with him? Is that Mr. Gitt? Might have been. Meanwhile, up front, Jake Moore, Clive Britton, Rick Bennersley, 1, 2, 3. They're 2.5 ahead from Marco Badowski, who's got up to 4th from 9th on the grid. What a start. Marco Badowski manages to make his way through that carnage at the start, up to 4th, followed by Dave Crew, John D. Mr. Gitt, we're watching here from Marco and Rigel. Rigel makes his way up to 8th, past Marco. Here's the unfortunate Nigel Wood. And he's got all those cars to try and make his way through. Nigel, known for his very calm demeanour, not. Will be stewing in that cockpit. Up they go, over the brow of the hill, down into nice sweep in turn 2. It's John D. Up ahead of him, Marco Badowski, Dave Crew, John D there in the yellow car, and then that's Mr. Gitt there in 7th, followed by Rigel and Marco. Pinpoint and Nigel Wood right behind them as well. An adventurous line up the inside there from Rigel. Has he managed to get it done? Keeps it on the curbs to give him the quickest and shortest path. Mr. Gitt desperately trying to keep it up there, and he does. Rigel will look for a cutback here, but Mr. Gitt very clever there on the corner apex, keeping it really tight and slow. Forces Rigel to get out of it, but Rigel through, up on the inside. Down over the press they go. John D ahead of Mr. Gitt. Rigel right behind. Just a view. Nigel's airbox. Mr. Gitt taking it nice and tight. Rigel will look for a sweep and a quicker exit off this corner. Mr. Gitt desperately trying to ensure don't get a valuable inside line into T1. Rigel now going to look around the outside into 2. Mr. Gitt will want a little bit more tarmac than that, maybe. We're going to go side by side, up and over the hill. Oh, cheers, Lucy. Subscribe again so we get the tune again. Thanks for the subscription note. Oh, and Mary Beth. That's nice, isn't it? Rigel runs a little bit wide there. Back onto the tail they go. Meanwhile, Badowski, Dave Crew. Watch that for a little while. That battle between Gitt, Rigel and Pinpoint's been manic, but up front, Badowski can see Rick Bennersley now. He's managed to break Dave Crew. These three, like John D, Dave Crew, were right on the back of Badowski not long ago. Badowski's just managed to pull a second or so out on John D there in 6th. Mr. Gitt back in 7th, some 2.5 seconds behind these two. front. Jake Moore, Clive Britton, 1.5 seconds between them. Further 2 and a bit seconds back to Binnersley. And just so I can go through your picture. Ahead of Badowski, and then the battle you're watching, Dave Crew and John D. You'll just watch at the bottom of your screen. You'll see the leaders go through. There goes Jake Moore, Clive Britton. There's Binnersley. Badowski in the black car. Looks like Binnersley just caught a little bit of the grass there. Kicks up a bit of dirt. Badowski, Dave Crew, John D. John D's going to have a look into 2, is he? No, keeps it nice and straight there. Tries to carry as much speed as he can for an attack into turn 3. Here we go. Looking up the inside. Dave Crew. Oh, they're going to come together. A little bit of a nudge. Both come off unscathed. That was lucky. Both of them could have got... Oh. Code Brown for Dave Crew there. Keeps it together though. Keeps 5th place. John D having a little giggle to himself watching that, I should imagine. Come race with me, yeah, we know that's not true. Further back, look at this battle. This is back for 11th. Marco ahead of Giorgio Minga in 12th. RWB Flack there in 13th. And Pinpoint must have had an issue because he's down in 14th. Marco, Giorgio Minga, Flack and Pinpoint. Further up, the battle for 7th. Here's Mr. Git. Roger Woods made his way up to 8th, followed by Roger in 9th. Those two quick drivers. Mr. Git no slouch, but he'll be under pressure, no doubt, for the next couple of laps. Roger Wood and Rigel really trying to do what they can to make their way through. This is a view from Rigel's car. Both him and Nigel Wood hit the apex and carried a speed up over the crest into 2. Nigel Wood having a look. Can he keep it there? In a drift wide. But Nigel Woods managed to make that stick, I think, on Mr. Git. And Nigel's having another look and following Nigel Wood through. Oh no! Misjudgment from Rigel there. That destroyed his suspension. The steering wheel looks pretty straight from what I can see. Would have been so easy to cause some damage there. As it is, Nigel Wood made his way through. Rigel didn't. And now Nigel Wood can look to get a move on. There's that horrible corner. Doesn't look anything at all, does it? Ugh. Stab its eyes out with a rusty spoon. So Mr. Git keeping Nigel Wood honest, but Nigel Wood looks like he wants to get away. Oh, is that a mistake from Nigel? No, he's good. Rigel though, it looks like he's managed to get past Mr. Git. I think it was a mistake from Mr. Git. Now Rigel's through. He is, there we go. Mr. Git is now going to have a look at Rigel. And come down under the power lines. Mr. Git having a bit of a weave, trying to put Rigel off. After tonight's race, I'll be surprised if it worked on Rigel. His eyes will be on stalks. He's been watching everything so far. And now Mr. Git going to have a look down into T1. He's got good toe here from Rigel. Can he go round the outside? Difficult to do. Oh, that's nice if he can keep it there. Push Rigel onto the inside of the track. Oh, I just wonder if Mr. Git gave him too much tarmac there. Nice driving from these two. Meanwhile, Nigel Wood, you can see, already made a break. Nigel Wood ahead of Mr. Git and Rigel. Rigel giving that place up to Mr. Git there. Nice driving from Mr. Git to keep Rigel behind. Meanwhile, Rick Binnersley, Marco Podolski. This is the battle for the third place on the podium. Not far behind them either is John D, looking to make amends for that race one where he had a good finish in the bag before the pit stop. Up front, Jake Moore, 2.5 seconds. In fact, 2 seconds ahead of Clive Britton. The track timing just sorts itself out. And then 5 seconds or so back to this battle with Binnersley, Podolski, John D. And not far behind them, Dave Crew. And not far behind Dave Crew is actually Nigel Wood. So Nigel Wood not that far off the podium here after that incident at the start of the race. Oh, has Binnersley run wide there? Is he going to give Podolski a chance? Podolski not choosing to take the cut to home. Now he does. Gets out the slipstream of Binnersley. Back in. Through turn one. Late on the brakes there from Podolski. Much later than Binnersley. Binnersley though gets a decent exit. Just runs a little bit wide there. That won't help him. Podolski manages to carry more and more speed as they come up to 2. Just blend the throttle through there. And now he's going to have a look on Binnersley. Binnersley not giving him any room at all into 3 over the crest. Binnersley's used to going around the outside here, as we know. He's going to look to cut back on Podolski. Nice driving, Rick Binnersley. Podolski really carrying speed through there. Binnersley saw it and was wise to it and pulled it right back on the inside of turn 3. Took the alternative line and took the position back. So Binnersley keeps 3rd. After he flirted with 4th place for a little while there. Podolski though is really chomping here. And all the time John D gets closer and closer, as does Dave Crew, as does Nigel Wood, Mr. Git and Rigel. They're all within shouting distance here. It's not that Binnersley's holding them up, it's just that Binnersley's having to take different lines to defend from Podolski, and that's slowing everybody up and bringing everyone back into the action. Meanwhile, Clive Britton's 5.5 seconds ahead of Binnersley and 3 seconds behind race leader Jake Moore. And they go to start one more lap. Where's that? 15 minutes gone, 25 minutes to go. Moore leads from Britton. And this battle between Binnersley, Podolski and John D. All 3 of them within a second of each other. Literally a second between the 3 of them. Oh, Podolski runs wide, deep into the corner. Loses the place. John D picks up 4th. Sorry, picks up 5th place. No, 4th. It is 4th, isn't it? Of course, yeah. Binnersley 3rd. John D now 4th. Podolski. Another uncharacteristic mistake from him. Puts him down to 5th. Binnersley again forced around the outside of turn 3. We're getting a postcard from there. This. Oh, Podolski having a look as well. And that's all getting tight into turn 4. Rub wheels there. Binnersley and Podolski not for the first time. And again, Podolski muscles his way through. And touch again as they go into that corner. Binnersley just gives his place back. And the time, nice driving and nice respect from Rick Binnersley there on Podolski. It was all getting very concertinaed up there. And John D now finds himself in third. And Rick Binners, he finds himself shuffled back to fifth after making a fantastic defence at turn 3 last time. This time it's his undoing. Slips back 2 places. And then just behind them, look, there's Nigel Wood on the same part of the track as John D in third position. Nigel Wood, can he make a fantastic comeback here? Well, he already has started to make it, hasn't he? Can he complete the comeback? Just a second and a half off Dave Crew in 6th. And you can see there's a battle with John D, Badowski, Binnersley and Dave Crew. And Nigel Wood just about to tag onto the back of it. Just to get him mad out. You can see just going through turn 1 there as well. They're not far away. Bit of a gap then back to Marco. Giorgio Minga's down there in 11th. Pinpoint in 12th. Rigel, who's literally had a race he wants to forget, in 13th. And Flack down there in 14th. Meanwhile, John D and Badowski going to turn 3, having dropped Binnersey somewhat. Binnersey's got Dave Crew right behind him now as well. So we need a split screen really. The gap between these two is the same as Binnersley and Dave Crew. There's those two. So John D, Badowski go through there, and then behind them Binnersley and Dave Crew. Then behind them you can see Nigel Wood. Jake Moore's pulled the gap out on Clive Britton. So 4 seconds now, first and second. And a further 6 seconds back to John D here in third. No mistakes from Jake Moore this time so far, as we come to the halfway point of the race almost. John D and Badowski. Badowski looking again to carry some pace through. Let's go and get on that camera and see what Badowski sees almost. Shuffles over to the inside. Okay, getting a warning. It's quite difficult to do track limit abuse here. As most of the corners where you run wide, you're actually going to lose yourself some time. This one here specifically at turn 2, you can see the gravel very close there on the exit. Just try and carry too much speed through there. Easy to run wide and you will cost yourself time. Oh, is this a mistake from John D? It is. That's going to allow Badowski to go through. John D comes back at him though, as Badowski struggles for grip on the inside of the corner there. John D keeps third. Rick Binnersey must have burnt his tyres out in that battle earlier. He's 2 seconds back now. Dave Crew putting him under as much pressure, if not more, than Badowski is with John D. This is the battle for the podium. John D currently in third. Badowski fourth. Behind these two, there's Binnersley and Dave Crew rather. I thought Nigel Wood would start putting his under a lot of pressure, but just taking his time now. So he gets to the front 3 or 4. Of course, all that. I don't know if Nigel's carrying any damage from that incident earlier in the race. And also pushing like that, no doubt take life out of his tyres. But we saw in race 1, John D came in for that early stop, didn't work out for him. So I imagine these guys will all be pushing it until the last 10 minutes or so. Bennesley looking to defend here from Dave Crew. Dave Crew looking around the outside. Can he keep it there? He can. They're going to go side by side into two. Dave Crew with the advantage here. Can make sure Bennesley doesn't get as much turn as they bounce tyres again. That actually helped Bennesley to keep it on the stop it drifting wide. Third corner. I thought they were going to go side by side through a third corner then. Not quite. Now Nigel Wood is within a shouting distance. This is the view from Nigel Wood, and you can see up front Bennesley. Has he just let Dave Crew through? He has. Dave Crew finally gets past Rick Bennesley. Bennesley though, will have a look. Just kick up some dirt there on the apex. That'll be fine. Dave Crew defending over the hill. You don't want to go too wide in this corner because it's quite hard to pull it back. Bennesley on the edge of adhesion there. Now they go over the hill. All the time, Badowski and John D pulling away. The gap's now 3.5, nearly 4 seconds back to Dave Crew. So a few of them shoot in for an early stop. Then as he goes through, John D, you can see, into the pits, doing the same stop again as he did last time, halfway. Well, just over halfway, and you can see a lot of the guys coming in here. Maybe it's just a bad stop from John Dean. He believes in the strategy, who knows? But he's out. Right behind him, Dave Crew. Nice stop by Dave Crew then. Managed to make up quite a bit of time there on John D. Didn't look a particularly bad stop from John D, but it was a particularly good one from Dave Crew. So 6th and 7th these guys, but they've made their stop and can go to the end now. Up front, Jake Moore leads Clive Britton by 5 seconds. Badowski obviously now up to 3rd, some 7 seconds behind Clive Britton. And 12 seconds off the lead, followed by Bennesley in 4th. Mr. Git up to 5th. John D, Dave Crew 6th, 7th have stopped. Nigel's up to 8th. Nigel Wood has made his stop. Down there now in 9th. Ron Maddow in 10th, who's also presumably stopped. Black, Pinpoint, Minga and Marco at the back. Just realised it's Charger that got kicked, isn't it? Charger got kicked between servers. Had that issue before and suffers the same fate tonight. He will be screwing. I know that much. I'm just trying to work out how did I not see that. But yeah, it's Charger that missed out on race 2. I'm sure it's gone straight to the back of the garage and started email sector 3. Just to let them know if they had any doubt that it is an issue in RaceRoom. But tonight, only Charger is the victim, unfortunately. Still, Rigel chased out by Nigel Wood. Wood looking to make up some places after a pit stop's pushed him back about 5 seconds behind the Bennesley, Dave Crew, John D battle. Just a shame for Nigel Wood. He's come out behind Rigel. Rigel obviously just lose confidence today. He was quick the early part of race 1. A few mistakes here and there has just obviously dented his confidence, and with that he's lost a second or so of pace. He's pushed him back into the clutches, likes of Nigel Wood. Oh. Nigel looking to take a line that wasn't available to him. Nigel Wood's car was there. Nigel manages to keep it together and keep the line. Those two will battle on. Further ahead, John D, Dave Crew, Rick Bennersley, all fighting over 5th position. This to get ahead, remember, yet to stop, as has Badowski, Britton and Jake Moore. So mistakes can happen in the pits. It's not all over yet. Further back in the field in 11th, Flack and Pinpoint battling hard. Oh no! Commentator curse for Flack. Apologies, mate. More spittle on your rear tyres, and off it went. Pinpoint manages to make his way through up to 11th. Nigel Wood still nibbling on Nigel's gearbox. Here we go, down the straight again. Will Nigel try and break the toe? No, Nigel Wood sits in the slipstream, pulls out now to have a look at the inside of the turn 1. A car coming out the pits there. Almost put Nigel off. Manages to take avoiding action. Nice corner from Nigel Wood. Nigel making him go really deep on the inside. That's the right thing to do. Keep him really tight in there. Make sure you give him no space at all. And the two of them will go side by side into turn 3 again. Not been good to Nigel Wood this race, turn 3. Can he keep it together this time? Yes, he can. Nice driving, Nigel Wood. Finally gets it done on Nigel. Although Nigel's coming back at him, looking for different lines through that part of the track. But Nigel Wood takes the race in line, which is the quickest one in that area. Manages to get ahead of Nigel now. So Nigel Wood up to 7th after that epic battle between him and Nigel. Not far behind them, that's Mad Out and Mr. Git. After making their pit stops, and having a good old battle. Look at that, Mr. Git looking around the outside, inside, outside. Can he get it done? He has. Oh wow, what a bit of driving from Mr. Git. Mad Out caught him napping, put him onto the marbles, and all of a sudden had no grip. Mad Out, and Mr. Git was through. That was an inventive piece of driving there, and it worked out well for him. Up to 9th, Mr. Git from Al in 10th. Meanwhile, Nigel Wood and Nigel haven't finished that battle yet, and just reversed round this time. Nigel looking for the outside into T1. Here we go. He's going to look to cut back. He is, but you really want the apex of turn 1. It's not a corner you can do that switch back on. Nigel Wood defends the inside line into 2. Now drifts out to give himself a little bit more room to get round. It's not the ideal line, and that's just allowed Nigel just to carry a tiny bit more pace through. Nigel Wood's got turn 3 worked out absolutely spot on. No matter what Nigel throws at him over the hill, Nigel Wood seems to be able to take turn 3 perfectly now. I'll say now, he hasn't done it before, but that was a good piece of driving from Nigel Wood. Meanwhile, 5 seconds ahead of them two, John D He's still fighting off Dave Crew and Rick Binnensley for fourth. Jake Moore, Clive Britton and Badowski ahead of these guys. And Jake Moore into the pits for his stop. The final stop of the race. Lead on Clive Britton was about 7 seconds. We'll see where Ian pops out after his stop. Very quick stop, just a splash and dash really for Jake Moore. And you can see Clive Britton not even onto the start finish straight, comes on there now. But Jake Moore already makes his way into turn one. So Jake Moore in and out of the pits sorted. Clive Britton second, Badowski third. Almost 10 seconds splits each one of those three. And then John D. In fact, Nigel's got back ahead of Nigel Wood. And we're watching Jake Moore in the pits. Nigel managed to do Nigel Wood, Nigel and Nigel. Can't believe anyone's ever done that before. And then we go into turn two. Looking back from Nigel's car. Nigel Wood. Is he going to go up the inside? He is. Nigel's obviously been watching him through turn three. They both managed to nail that beautifully. Into this 4, 5, 6 complex. Nigel Wood looking for a slightly different line there. Same as Roger did to him earlier. Get a bit more pace through there. A little bit deeper. Meanwhile, remember Flack and Pinpoint. They're back at it again. Flack's managed to get past him. I'll try not to curse you this time, mate. George Ominga behind these two and Marco. A quick rundown. So we got 6 minutes to go. Jake Moore leads Clive Britton by 9 seconds. He's ahead of Badowski in third again by 9 seconds. A gap then of just 2 seconds back to John D, Dave Crew. They've dropped Binnensley slightly, about a couple of seconds. 5 seconds then back to Rigel, who's got that battle with Nigel Wood. Then Mister gets a couple of seconds behind them. Mad Al, big gap back then, but Flack and Pinpoint here. George Ominga, you can just see him in the background there, 3 seconds off them. And Marco brings up the rear, just a second and a half off George Ominga. Nigel and Wood. I know we've watched this quite a lot tonight, but to be fair, a lot of the other guys are so far apart. You'll just be watching them on an empty part of the track. Nigel Wood has held 7th, gave it back to Rigel. Now he wants it back again. All the time falling further and further behind Rick Binnensley in 6th, who himself is losing time to Dave Crew and John D. Nice clear track for Rigel. Track full of Rigel for Nigel Wood. Nice little section this, if you can get it right. Nice to drive. I can just see Binnensley in the distance as well, in 6th place. John D has just fallen off the back of Dave Crew. Giving that place up, and now claws back into the clutches of Binnersley. It's nowhere near as close as this battle. Nigel Wood almost bump drafts Rigel into turn 1. Nigel Wood has the inside, Rigel the outside, and that's how they'll go up till 2, but Rigel just carries that bit more pace. Nigel Wood's going to have to stop back in behind, which is okay because he can carry some speed then through 2 and look to make a move into 3 as they go up and over the bridge. Remember, tyres not an issue, they're all changed fairly late on in the race. They'll be nice and up to temperature and full of grip right now. That's not going to be an issue. Just ahead of these two, John D and Binnersley. I say John D, Dave Crew away there in 4th now. John D falling back into the clutches of Binnersley. Nigel Wood pressuring Rigel. Still. Just 2 minutes to go. They'll get one more lap in. Here is Jake Moore on track. Jake Moore comes across the line. Be close. It should be the final lap, but he might just get one more in depending when he crossed the line. Lap time here is a 2:04-ish. And when he saw him on the start-finish straight, it was just over 2 minutes to go. So possibly the final lap here for Jake Moore. If he's clever about it, he's got 10 seconds on Clive Britton. He might just slow this lap down to make sure this is the final lap. Which means Rigel and Wood are on their final tour. Because I should imagine Jake Moore, old hand that he is, will know that's all he's got to do. Just take the foot off the gas and give himself a couple of seconds grace on this lap. Make sure he crosses the line, as this is the final lap. Wood around the outside of Rigel in 3. Rigel takes that perfectly though, gives Nigel Wood no opportunity there to have any kind of move. A good battle between these two. And say, as he did in race 1, Nigel Wood being very patient, had his chance, managed to get through on Rigel, but let him back through a couple of laps later. Meanwhile, where's Jake Moore on track? He's just coming around the final couple of corners onto the start-finish straight. Watch the clock. He's going to carry it. One more lap to go. So Jake Moore manages to cross the line to carry on for one more lap. Nigel Wood, has he got it done on Rigel this time? They're going to bang wheels, are they? They're going to go side by side over the line for the final lap. Just ahead of him, you can see their crew, John D and Rick Binnersley. Then the battle here between Nigel Wood and Rigel, and it's literally side by side. So they go into T1. Nigel Wood's got the inside line. Rigel hangs it out around the outside. This time Nigel Wood has the advantage, or does he? There's literally nothing between these two as they come down into 2. Nigel Wood, though, has he broken Rigel? Can he keep ahead for the final lap? Goes defensive for 3. And it looks like Nigel Wood has managed to get it done. Meanwhile, Look at this. John D, Dave Crew. John D wants his 4th place back, and I think he's got it. Dave Crew makes a mistake. Not only gives John D 4th, gives Rick Binnessy 5th as well. Oh dear, Dave Crew. Oh, on the final lap of the race. Is he in trouble there, Dave Crew? He's going very slowly. I hope he's not run out of fuel. We'll have to see. Meanwhile, Jake Moore is coming through the final corner to make it a 1-2. Well, a 1-1 for 2 races tonight. Jake Moore wins race 2 at Slovakia, following up from race 1 victory tonight. Clive Britton is going to come home in 2nd with his usual weave across the line. Good job, Clive. Well done. Badowski, better race from him tonight for race 2. He's going to come home and take some champagne for P3. John D and Binnersley are going to come home 4th and 5th. And Nigel Wood and Rigel been at it all race. Nigel Wood finally getting the better of Rigel for 6th. Rigel finishes 7th. Mr. Git crosses the line back there in 8th. Mad Al, good performance from him tonight as well, back in 9th. Dave Crew, I think, yeah, we thought he might have been. He did. Fuel miscalculation by 1 litre on the final corner there. Oh! I don't know if that was a bit of a hand from Giorgio Mingo to try and get him round. And there's Giorgio Mingo just coming through now, so it wasn't him. It might have been Pinpoint or Flack just to try and give him a nudge across the line. Didn't quite work. Mingo's going to come home in 12th. Marco will finish in 13th, and the unfortunate Dave Crew, out of fuel on the last corner, will be unfortunately last. Great night of racing as always from RWB in the F4 Tatuus race here at Slovakia Ring. Race 2 results, there we go. Jake Moore wins his 2nd race tonight from Clive Britton, who tastes more champagne on the podium. Dowski finishes 3rd. Could have had that in race 1, but obviously had those issues and drive-throughs, so that destroyed his race in race 1, but manages to recoup some semblance of success in race 2 for P3 there. John D manages to snatch 4th with Rick Binnersley in 5th, as the unfortunate Dave Crew ran out of fuel, struggling for a little bit of engine power there on the last lap, so they finish 4th and 5th. Nigel Wood, great race between him and Rigel, pretty much all race. 6th and 7th for those two. Mr. Gittin 8th, Mad Al 9th, Flack, Pinpoint 10, 11, Minga 12th, Marco 13th, Crew 14th, and as we said, Charger missed the transition into race 2 and didn't make it through. So apologies to Charger from RaceRoom. That'll be no consolation to Charger, I'm sure. But still, them's the breaks. And another night of RWB Formula 4 over and done with. Don't forget, we're back again next week, same time, same place, different track. Join us for that. Plenty of other stuff going on at RWB during the week as well, so don't forget to keep a track of all the information, what's going on. You can drop onto the website, RWB International. You just search that for that in Google, and they'll come up on your top one, because they're a busy old community, and all the races they've got coming up will be on there for you. Just give a couple of seconds to see if we get any drivers in. Hopefully we will. I should imagine after what's been, an hour and 20 minutes driving those things, I'll be straight into the shower. In fact, you know what? We'll leave it there and let them have their break. Thanks as always for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the stream tonight. Sorry you didn't have the dulcet tones of Rob Lowe, but you had Martin Hughes instead. A poor second, I know, but I hope you enjoyed it anyway. Thanks again for watching, and take care.